girl with her guitar, keeping to herself. Friday nights alone, with the records on her shelf. A waitress pouring ginger ale and coke. Someone you ask out as a joke. I've been that girl who fades away, accepting what I've got, stuck in what I am and everything I'm not. I've only seen this tiny world I'm in, where I can only be what I've been. See a world beautiful and strange, spinning off somewhere, saying meet me there. Look how fast it runs away, singing I follow close and reach for me. See that you've got so much more to be before it's over. Before it's over. I can't go write another song. I'm too afraid to play or dream how things could change, but only see what's in my way. I can't go back to what I was before, now that I can see so much more. See a world beautiful and strange on a one-way track, and it won't come back. Look how fast it runs away, singing follow close and reach for me. See that you've got so much more to be before it's over. I never even knew a world was waiting. Somehow something awful made that world appear. Maybe it sounds crazy, but I'm happy that it happened. Happy that I came. Happy that I'm here. I can see a world beautiful and strange. Can you see it too? It's so close, don't let it get away. There's so much to do before it's over.
Theatre, an industry returning after a global pandemic. In the Wings is a collection of interviews with writers, composers and creatives of new musical theatre. As the world starts to find a new normal, we will shine a spotlight upon 6 such productions, featuring performances by West End stars and emerging artists. These are the stories of those shows waiting in the wings. Episode 1, Tarrytown.
So picture this, we're on a boat, we're looking out at the Statue of Liberty, we head about an hour up the Hudson River and we find Tarrytown. Now please welcome Adam Wachter, who's going to tell us all about the musical.
Thank you, that's such an evocative picture. I would love to be on a boat with you going up the Hudson River, looking at the Statue of Liberty. What fun! Let's do it.
Excellent.
Tarrytown is a musical that I wrote. It is set an hour up the Hudson River from New York City. And it is a modern adaptation of a story by Washington Irving that's very famous called The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is about a headless horseman and all this stuff. And it's set in Sleepy Hollow, which is sort of part of Tarrytown. They're sort of one community just north of New York City. But my version is for 3 actors, and it's a musical. And yeah, it's modern day. It's very, I think, tuneful. It's funny. It's also intense, and there's like a Halloween element to it, of course, with the Headless Horseman and all that, but it's more a metaphorical horseman, and yeah, that's what it's about.
Why did you write the show?
I wrote the show because I saw one night, I was laying in bed, back when I was living in New York, I was laying in bed watching TV late at night, as you do, and I saw this Canadian made-for-TV movie version of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, starring Brent Carver, who was this amazing Broadway actor. He was the original Melina in Kiss the Spider-Woman on Broadway. He was the original Leo Frank in Parade on Broadway. Brilliant, brilliant Canadian-based Broadway actor. And he played Ichabod Crane in this movie. And he was like a little bit effete, shall we say, like a little effeminate, a little gay about it. And I thought, oh my God, Ichabod Crane is gay. Like, of course he is. I mean, I always think everyone's gay anyway. But in this instance, I was like, that's a great in to this story. Because if you don't know the story, it's about Ichabod Crane, who is a music teacher who ends up in this sort of very, very small conservative Dutch settlement community in like the 1700s. Disney had made a cartoon version of the story. Tim Burton, of course, made that movie with like Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, Sleepy Hollow. But I thought this makes perfect sense because all the people in this town really ostracize and alienate this newcomer. And in the story, you don't really know why, other than that he is educated and he is musical and he sort of represents ideas that are so foreign to this community, right? So I thought, oh my God, if it's modern day, what's the equivalent of that? He's gay. And I grew up as a little gay child in a very conservative, actually like Dutch-based community as well in Michigan. And so I just saw all these sort of parallels with like my own life and that feeling of being an outsider and how do you navigate that in the world. And I thought, I need to write this. And it was the first musical I wrote.
Amazing. So you really feel like you can relate to the lead character?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I feel like everyone can to an extent because everyone feels like an outsider at some point in their lives. And actually all the characters in my version, for various reasons, feel kind of othered. It's not just that there's the one outsider. But yeah, I think that's really an end to the story for everyone because we enter the community through the eyes of probably someone we associate with, who's an outsider, who's from New York, who is knowledgeable about music and theater in the same way that probably audiences at Tarrytown would be.
Morning in Tarrytown, folks are just waking, a cricket still sounds. There goes the school bus, there goes a paper boy making his rounds. Small town American lives, small town America thrives. I've noticed in Tarrytown, tarrying here still survives. On one of the houses, a nameplate espouses, here so-and-so died. Colonial charm stifles any alarm, there's a meth lab inside. Sure, all the roads are run down, but Walmart just opened cross town. So why is living in Tarrytown leaving me so terrified? Back in New York, there's limitless places to eat in New York. You push through the mobs on the street and it smells, but it's home in New York. There goes the mailman, proud of his mullet and proud of his gun. Drive through a Dairy Queen's packed, fatties love their fast food on the run. Soccer moms idly besmirch, then Sunday they all go to church. Hypocrisy's not a tangible thought, it's fun. Back in New York, at least people say what they mean in New York. You feel you're a part of the scene, and if not, just pretend in New York. But I'm in Tarrytown, newly transplanted and newly employed. I'm reminiscing and already missing the life I enjoyed. That's where comparisons end. Maybe here I'll make a friend. I might be a hit, I might be a bit paranoid. And maybe I'll meet the love of my life. Hell, I've been here now barely a day. It's not like I'm in some alien country. Manhattan's an hour away. And maybe it's now a possible dream to give my life some cognoscible theme. So fuck you to my old boss, a bulimic bitch. Which brings me to Tarrytown, face the adventure with honor, with pride. A new chapter starting, my terror departing with every stride. Goodbye to my morning, a city more hip. Good morning to Tarrytown citizenship. Good riddance to all the good nights and good lucks no one said. Welcome to Tarrytown, maybe I'll tarry here till I'm dead.
Musically, would you say it's very modern musical, or who is your sort of target audience?
I would say it is modern, but with a nod to sort of older musicals. I mean, I grew up listening to Sondheim, of course, like everyone else.
Everyone.
But also a lot of Jerry Herman, a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein, and then in present day, my sort of huge influences are like Janine Tesori and Michael John LaChiusa and all these kind of people who I think are just really advancing the form of the musical. And I'm not comparing myself to them or saying that I'm doing anything like that, but they're certainly inspirations and influences. So I think the score is, it's varied. I think there are elements of it that are really, really musical theater, kind of show-tuney, and then there are some really contemporary, almost pop influences as well. But I think overall it's a very sort of acoustic chamber music type show. Because Ichabod Crane is a music teacher, there's a through line in the show where he's teaching Vivaldi's Four Seasons as sort of a music appreciation course for his high school students. And so there's actually also kind of like a classical influence, and there are quotes from that piece as well.
Tell us about some of the songs in the show.
Sure. Well, the very first song I ever wrote, which you will hear or have heard potentially on this show already, was When You're Near. And that's sort of, if there was like an 11 o'clock number, I guess that would be it. And that's Ichabod's big moment at the end of the show of revealing his feelings for the heretofore straight character, Brahm. Ichabod has gone through this journey of having a crush on a straight guy, at which we've all been there, we've all done that. And certainly when I was writing this, it was, like I said, it was the first song I wrote. This was 10 years ago. Now I'm happily married. But at the time, thank you. At the time I was not, and I was very much in love with very many people, I'm sure, who weren't right for me and who had no idea. And so I wrote this song. It really came out of that. I knew there would be this moment. This was before I'd written the book, and I don't recommend writing a musical like this where you just start with a song. Like, no, you should outline everything. You should know who your characters are. But in this case, I didn't know what I was doing. It was my first musical. So I wrote this song, When You're Near, and I had this little figure that, I think we were in C at the time. I don't know what key it's in these days, but it was like CBE. I was like, okay, that's interesting. If I put it over sort of like an F, which is going to be the 4 of the thing, it'll be something. And it just felt like yearning to me. Whatever that was, whatever all that meant musically, it felt to me when I played it on the piano like yearning. And I thought, okay, that is the theme of this show and of this song in particular. And I just wrote that song. And then there's bits, if you listen, there's bits of those melodies, because that was first, there's bits of that in almost every other song. Like the bridge of Tarrytown, which you're also going to hear, is a direct quote, I think, from When You're Near. It all sort of came from that very first song. I thought, this is the musical world of the piece, and that informed everything else that happened.
It's amazing how music can make you feel that emotion just by 3 notes.
Exactly, 3 notes, and you're like, he loves the straight guy.
When you're near, it's like I can focus or breathe. When you're near, I can't decide what it is. Either it's love or it's hell. When you're near, my skin gets all clammy and wet. Yeah, that's gross, but really the way that I get when you're close. Every time, when you're near, when you're near, you are near. When you're near, I think about all the things I've done right. When you're near, a shitty day is a prurient night. When you're near, when you're near, when you're here, when you're close, when you're near. When you're there and looking at me from under your eyes. When you're close, I smell your fragrance, a citrus surprise. When you're close, only then, only all the time. When you are near, you are near. Standing here, I'm aware that this is a lot to take in. It's not fair to throw this on you, but I don't care, 'cause this is the sanest I've felt since I moved here. I've improved here, so have you. And so what? So maybe the neighbors will talk, say we're smiting the Lord up above. And maybe not, even I can't get over the fact that I love you. Brom, I love you. I'm in love. Did you hear what I said? Do you have something to say? I can see you're like me, spinning, lost and forlorn, always cursing the day and the way you were born. When you're near, I dream of the future we'll share. When you're near, I fantasize seeing you there. Doubt and fear disappear when you're near. When you're near, when you're near. When you smile, I resolve from denial. All the while I can't bear knowing there lies somewhere infantile shame and fear. Brom, let it out, I'm standing right here. When you're near me, don't you feel the same way I do? When you're near.
You won the Craig Knoll Award for the
Yes.
Best New Musical in 2017.
Diversionary Theatre's production, they did the first ever live production. It was just with piano. It was in a very, very tiny, about the size of this room actually, theater. I think it sat like 50 people. It was a tiny theater, but they did this imaginative, sort of magical, little low budget production. And surprisingly, I think to myself and to them and to everybody, it sort of became this runaway hit, and it got great reviews. It was just this little scrappy thing, but then it was nominated very kindly by the San Diego Theater Critics Circle, and it went up against some sort of big musicals at the time. I think it was like Summer, the Donna Summer musical, and Freaky Friday, and all these kind of bigger budget shows, La Jolla and Old Globe, and these big theaters in San Diego. And it won this little musical. It won Best Musical, so that was a nice little
Amazing.
feather in my
Congratulations.
cap. Thank you. Thank you, 4 years on, but thank you.
So, talk me through your 10-year plan for Tarrytown.
Well, it's already been 10 years since I started writing the goddamn thing. Uh, can you say that on the YouTube? Oh, sorry.
The YouTube?
The YouTube. That's what we used to call it back in the day.
And the Facebook.
Exactly. I mean, but yeah, it's been 10 years. Over 10 years. I think I started writing it in 2010, maybe. So it's had a bunch of readings. It's had a couple very small, very sort of local productions, the one in San Diego, and then, as I said, this past summer, a very, very sort of brief, just kind of special engagement in New Hampshire. I would love to see it produced here in the UK. I think UK audiences would really, really, really engage with it and really be able to appreciate it. Yeah, but it's ready. I mean, I don't know if musicals are ever finished. They say musicals are never finished; they're just abandoned. But this one really has been through the ringer. It's had so many drafts at this point, and it's sort of ready to go. It's fully orchestrated by Brian Yusufer, who is the music director of Frozen on Broadway and Kinky Boots, among other things. So yeah, it's ready. It needs a producer. I think it needs a theater who believes in it, like the San Diego Theater did, to sort of program it into their season and say, yeah, this is a good show. It's a small cast. Doesn't need big sets or sort of flashy effects. It's just really a piece for 3 singing actors and an imaginative director and design team. Yeah. And I would love to see them run with it.
I've been listening to the soundtrack featuring the incredible Jeremy Jordan. Tell us more about that.
I didn't have like a good recording, basically. And we had done another reading starring Andy Mientus, Jeremy Jordan, and Krista Rodriguez. We'd done a reading in New York, directed by Michael Arden, just to sort of develop the piece further, maybe gauge potential interest among some producers. And to be honest, at the end of that week, I just said to the 3 actors, I said, listen, you've just learned all this music. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be fun if we went into a recording studio next week and just like recorded it so that I had a proper recording of it? And my friend Brian Yusufer did orchestrations, and I raised some money on Indiegogo, I think. And finally, we got to do a real recording, and luckily for me, those 3 amazing performers all very generously said yes. And at that point, it truly was just going to be sort of a private demo that I would send to potential investors and all those kinds of things. And then, when COVID happened, actually, I reached out to the 3 of them again, and I said, what if I released this? Like, this amazing recording exists. Nothing else was being released at the time because theater wasn't happening because of the pandemic. And I said, can I release this album now? And if all the proceeds go to the Actors Fund, which is a great organization, and they were doing lots of money for relief at the time. This was last summer, 2020. And they all, again, so generously said yes. And now the Tarrytown recording exists in the world, ready for everyone to listen to and enjoy, like yourself.
That's amazing, and for a great cause as well, like you say.
Great cause, yeah, all proceeds.
I could listen to Jeremy Jordan sing all day, as I think
could too.
Many people could.
So good. They're all so good.
Down the stairs and out the door, to think I really could. Down the stairs, away from cares he never understood. Dreaming for years of this moment, dealing with fears that I would pack up and go down the stairs for good. Down the stairs to something new, a chance to change, to grow. Down the stairs, a clean debut into another show. Wondering where this will take me, loving the fact I don't know, loving that I'll find out once I go. Down the stairs and out the door and into light and air. Down the stairs, a world awakes, alone, awake, aware. Somebody maybe who sees me, somebody maybe who cares. Maybe if I make it down the stairs. Up the stairs is strong and stable,
ever written anything else, or is this your baby that you're giving everything to?
Originally, this was my baby that I gave everything to. It was the first musical I wrote, since I have written other things.
Oh, great.
Just this year, a new musical I wrote over the past year called Home Free was shortlisted in the top 4 for the Styles and Drew Mentorship Prize, so that was really fun. A musical I wrote called Cast Party had its world premiere in February 2020 in New York. Yeah, various other musicals and things and songs. Yeah. Always writing songs for random stuff. And now I'm here in the UK, and I'm a lecturer at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama in their musical theatre department.
Amazing.
So that's fun.
So music's always been in your journey of life.
Yeah, that's how I got started, really, was like as a pianist, music director.
Okay.
I was in New York. I was like subbing on Broadway shows, depping, you call it here in this country. But that's how it all really started, playing a lot of auditions. I can't even count the days, hours, weeks, months of like wicked auditions that I sat behind a piano. But that's what paid my rent. And I went on tours, like assistant conductors and things, and did that whole, and always on the side was just sort of writing for fun. And now I'm really starting to say, okay, I've got musicals that I think are good, and other people seem to think are decent. So let's do them. Let's get them produced. Let's get them on their feet, because they don't come alive until they're in the mouths of actors and in front of audiences.
Definitely.
You know?
So if someone were to come to you for advice about writing their own musical, what would you give them?
I would say go for it, first of all. I think that it's probably the hardest thing to start and to say to yourself, yes, I can do this thing. At the time that I wrote Tarrytown, at least the first draft of it, I'd written songs, but I'd never written a musical or a play or anything like that. So you do have to just have the confidence to go for it. And then I think you have to be diligent, and you have to be judicious, and you have to really be serious about it. You have to look at every word and every note and say, is this the right one for this moment? Or is there a better lyric that will rhyme better, or that will serve the story better, or the character, or whatever? And you have to really be harsh with yourself, and rewrite, hear everything out loud by real actors, and listen to what they have to say if they have opinions on their characters, because they'll know those characters better than you will. It's hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. I would say writing a musical is very hard, because unlike a book, you can't just write it and then hand it to someone and say it's done. You have to involve other people. You have to get actors, creative team members. You have to get recordings. It's not for the weak, sort of. You've got to really want it. You've got to love musicals. But if you do, and you're serious about it, it's like the best to sit back and listen to talented singers and actors perform your material, and talented orchestrators and arrangers working on it, and like there's nothing better.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really hope that Tarrytown comes over to the UK, probably on the West End.
Thank you.
Wish you the best of luck with it, please.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Adam Wachter.
Thank you.